Okay, good evening. We are revisiting R52, a denial of certificate of appropriateness for 101 North 11th Street. And we left the meeting several weeks ago, and I'll read a little. The committee reviewed the denial on November 2nd. The work was denied because vinyl windows do not follow the guidelines of the historic district. The committee and council members had some issues that were reviewed by the HARP secretary, the board, and the consultant to the board. The HARP secretary made a site visit to evaluate the presence of vinyl windows and reviewed previous COAs related to vinyl windows. That report with a list of precedents and a letter from Miss Usler, am I saying that right? Yes. The consultant to the board were received by council and part of the record. Copies are on the back table and are on the city website. We recommend to follow up, we perform the time list and getting back to us. Perhaps you can review your findings. So I would turn it over to Mr. Kimberly. Yeah. Kimberly, that was close. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so what I did was I went out to the location between Hamilton Street and I believe it's Turner to the north.
2 blocks up we were going to talk about. Hamilton to Linden, Linden up.
Correct.
And
I went through the neighborhood, building by building, address by address, property by property, and looked at the windows. I was able to confirm that a lot of what the applicant claimed was correct. And then I also did a study of our files and found that there were a number of the vinyl windows that were approved to be vinyl windows. But one of the reasons why they were approved was because they were before 2012. The certificate of appropriatenesses or stamp approvals were before 2012, and prior to this most recent upgrade in the ordinance and also design guidelines being identified. In addition, I found there were 21 properties that had wood windows, old wood windows, so those would be in compliance. 7 of the properties were issued a certificate of appropriateness for one type of window or another. It may have been vinyl, some of them were so old they were approved for aluminum windows, and some of them were approved for wood aluminum clad windows. So there were 7 of those. There was 1 staff approval for windows, and there are 2 current violations for windows that are outstanding that were within the past couple of years that we're still working on trying to resolve. So in total, what I found was that there are 31 properties, or about 49% of the total, that there's some explanation as to why the vinyl windows are there. The applicant claimed about 18 properties were in compliance and had wood windows, and that all the other vinyl windows were not in compliance, and there was some type of approval for this. The majority of these also that are vinyl, admittedly, are there because they're either as unreported violations or again they occurred prior to the ordinance being upgraded or the ordinance being enacted. And that's basically a summary of what I found.
Okay, quick question. Your last statement, some preceded 2012. Okay, that's a given, that's fine. And you said some are unreported violations.
Potentially some of those windows that are installed could have been installed without a certificate of appropriateness, and it may have been after 2012. It's just that no one called us and reported the violation. That's how it is. Some of them could exist for that reason.
Okay, so maybe
the only way to know for sure whether that's the case or not is to know what year the windows were put in, which is pretty much impossible.
So what do you do with those unreported violations?
We can't send violation letter to them because we don't know for certain that it's a violation.
And because you don't know when they were put in?
Correct, correct. Now, if we actually see someone putting in windows, and someone reports it to us, that's when we send a violation letter. That's how the violation is reported.
Okay, good, okay. Thank you, thank you. And Mr. Greedy, welcome. We just started, we had the review given by Mr. Kimberly about what we asked at the previous meeting. Thank you, sir, I appreciate that very much. I'm gonna go to my, you ready? You on board?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. You're not gonna review it though. Right there, I got it. I got the notes right there. I'm on it. Comments from my colleagues. Comments from my colleagues. Mr. Davis, go ahead.
If 2012 is the cutoff point, I feel that we don't have to support HARB because their function is to watch for these things. And when they come up with an ordinance, whatever you want to call it, saying anything after 2012, you have to follow these rules. I don't think it's, we should be stepping into that and saying, look, we got a situation here or a situation there, and we want to do this. You have to let HARB do their job, which I think they're doing a great job of. So. I'm just in favor of what you're doing. You know, you have all your rules laid out, you have hearings, people are told when they want to do something, what they have to do. It's not like you surprise somebody.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Mona?
I'm in support of HARB too. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Kimberly yesterday because I wanted to know the whole story, word by word. I also wanted to know the whole process. And he did a good job explaining to me everything that went on. I just think that this is not the only issue that we're gonna have, you know, in the future. I think that it is extremely important that we should add to the ordinance an educational piece to it. I believe that we have to make sure that we speak to real estate agents, agencies, homeowners, future home buyers, and let them know, you know, about the importance of, you know, following the guidance, you know, the rules, you know. And I think that the book that you showed me yesterday, I think that should be distributed to many places. And I think that we should do a better job doing that. So that's my opinion. I think that an educational component should be part of the ordinance. And it's not, I don't think that we should start telling people, well, this is what you should not do, this is, no. Let's tell people the importance as to what is it, you know, that we would like to preserve, you know, the history of their homes, the value that it's gonna bring in the future. And that's my opinion. I'm in support, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, Ms. Mona. Any other comments? Follow up on Ms. Mona. When somebody does buy a home in a historic district, is there information given? Obviously, I mean, you live in a historic district and somebody buying a home, you want them to, you know, conform with what is, I guess, the rules and regs and, you know, SOPs in a historic district.
What we do is we get a list from the Lehigh County Assessor's Office every month of the recent changes in ownership. And each one of those gets a letter in the mail and also it's a small pamphlet about HARB. It's not the book. We don't send the book to everyone that changes hands. But you know, but we do send a smaller brochure that refers to the city website and it explains that they're in a historic district. And in fact, I just got a call the other day from someone who got one of those letters and said, I'm thinking about putting a fence in. And I got the letter, and I'm a new property owner, and what do I need to do? And that was very, very good to get that phone call.
Ms. Mona, go ahead.
I know that there's seminars for first-time homeowners. I think that, you know, we should, you know, jump into the wagon too and do some classes. I think that it is extremely important that we educate. In this case, I really believe that he knew what he was doing because this is not the first time that he had purchased a home in the historic district. So this case is different somewhat, but the reality is that I still feel that the educational component is extremely important, and we should educate our community.
Thank you, Ms. Moser. Just one follow-up, and just informational stuff for me. How many homes are in the historic district? You have a number?
I do.
I mean, you don't have to give it to me
You
tonight.
said it yesterday, you said
In Old Allentown, I'm estimating that there's probably somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000. In total, for the 3 historic districts in Allentown, I believe there's about approaching 4,000.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments from my colleagues? Mr. Hendricks?
Yeah, I just want to say also that I choose support the HARB process, and I have difficulty with the appellant who had 2 prior properties of which he went to your board with and, found out what was approved and what wasn't, he was able to do. And that in this case, he didn't bother to and went ahead and did the alterations. So I have difficulty deciding in that instance because, I mean, certainly if you did it for the other 2, it should have been done on the 3rd one and would have been known, obviously, that it was not allowed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Any other comments from my colleagues? Mr. Garidi?
First of all, I apologize for being late to this meeting. Big traffic jam on 22 coming west. Saying that, I concur with my colleagues on this. We had a meeting before and we discussed this at length. I did some research after that, and I must, however, stress the point of education. I think it's very important that people understand that they're moving into a historic district and that basically they gotta follow the rules. And if they don't invest their hard-earned money into a property without checking with her, they may have to be asked to tear down whatever they put into the property. So, or to replace the amenities. Saying that, I'm ready to vote when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Garidi. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll open it up to the public. See, go ahead, come on up. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a short comment, and I'm not sure the process of any place.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, we had just several weeks ago, we heard a lot of testimony, but no. I mean, I really don't want to hear 12 people talking, but, I mean, because we're probably all going to say the same thing. I respect that, don't get me wrong, but you weren't here, but go ahead.
Okay.
Name and address.
Margarita Hausler, 1406 Hamilton Street, Allentown, 18102. And I just want to say I'm a relatively new resident to the Lehigh Valley, and I was drawn to Allentown specifically because of the apparent commitment of the city. One, I was drawn because of the amazing historic architecture, but 2, the fact that the city had the foresight to actually identify historic districts and to establish a process, and HARB was a big part of me making a commitment. The first property I bought was in the West Park Historic District. I now have a property that's outside of the historic district. I would love to see the historic district expand to include it. So I just wanted to say I really respect what the city has done, and I fully support it. And I just wanted to encourage the city council to really take account of what HARB's doing. I think HARB's doing a really good job. I will add, I think getting out to real estate agents, especially given the recent developments in Allentown, is a great idea. It needs to be educated. When I bought my property 10 years ago, I kind of had to educate my agent about what it was, and because I came from a historic district, I kind of knew questions to ask and what to go after, but I would strongly encourage.
Where'd you come from?
Glen Ridge, New Jersey, and almost all the town is a historic district, so I was kind of familiar with what you have to do.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, sir.
Just a brief comment for council.
Right. Name and address.
Bob Berner, 809 North 20th Street in Allentown. I'm the realtor on the board, the broker, and on the agreement of sale, there is a checkbox, and we all use the same agreement of sale in Pennsylvania. The checkbox is if the home is in a historic district, you're supposed to check it. Also on the seller's disclosure, it's supposed to be taken care of. If the realtor is not aware that the house is in those areas, it's not going to help. So I did speak with David about doing some type of outreach or education to the board of realtors in the area. So that is, we understand that's an issue and we'd like to rectify that.
That's a good point. Thank you. Appreciate it. Come on up, ma'am. Name and address.
Linda Blows, 1938 Southwest 31st Street. I appreciate what Harb does. I own 3 properties in the district myself. I've since sold them and moved over to the Alton Park area, but also having contracts with the city for 30-some years, I think that garbage is an issue. For all the homes that have aluminum windows, I can probably show you 2 yards that should have a broom and a bucket to those windows. And to like hit somebody that's trying to make an improvement, I think you should throw them a party, honestly. That is filthy out there. The yards are terrible.
We're not talking about that.
I know you're not, you're talking about vinyl windows.
But that's a separate issue. We're talking about a denial,
I understand what you're saying.
the gentleman applied.
When you're doing this to this, here's vinyl windows, right down here, here's the garbage truck. So to sit here, everybody gets dressed up and comes here to talk about vinyl windows, to talk about education, give them some brooms, seriously, and get them to clean up. And that's the long and short.
Thank you, Ms. Close, appreciate your comments. Come on up, ma'am. Welcome. Name and address.
My name is Laura Wilson. I live at 521 North Lee Street, Allentown. I'm a historic preservation professional. I've worked with David and Christine occasionally, contracted by the Old Allentown Historic District for some project management of facade projects previously. And I just wanted to say I'm so happy to hear you talk about education in historic preservation in the community. I think it's absolutely needed. And so my comment is, as you entertain the mayor's budget, really the issue with expanding education is from a personnel standpoint, there aren't enough warm bodies doing the work to get the word out. And if there's any way that you can help the preservation cause within the city, that would be much needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Sir? This is the appellant. Welcome, sir. Name and address.
101 North 11th Street.
Name first.
Gus Kirkopoulos.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I did go by appliance on 2 other properties with vinyl windows for Hart. By that said, I bought windows for this house. I didn't install them. The old windows are still on the property. I went and bought these windows thinking that they approved 2 separate houses with same windows, and they're just sitting in the garage. I didn't install nothing. I called Mr. Kimberly. I said, I got these windows. Do you mind if I put them in? And he goes, no, it's a wrong window. You gotta make it new, historic for it. And I didn't do anything wrong. All they did was go by what they approved the last 2 houses. Same exact window, just a different house. And I know their issue was, it's a different house. Well, why did you approve me on 2 other houses? Same window, same style, same everything. The only difference is this house on the corner of property on 11th and Linden. And I think the big problem is that I didn't ask for the from Harvey. Basically, I think that's where I'm at.
Sorry.
That's basically it. I think if I would have called him and said, listen, I got these windows, it might have been a little bit different, but I went on the basis that 2 other houses, same exact window, why wouldn't it be okay? They okayed 2 other houses in the historic district that I have. That was basically it. I didn't do anything wrong. Everything they wanted me to do, I had a front door. I called Mr. Kimberly about, I wanted to replace it. He goes, no, just fix it. I fixed it. It looks beautiful on the property. But I mean, I go by the books. They want me to do this, that, I do everything. I'm not gonna go behind these guys and do something that I'm not supposed to do. I'm in this for a long run.
No, wait, I'm just waiting. Well, finished?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay, all right, now you can have a rebuttal.
I did go look at both of those properties and investigated them for staff approvals and certificates of appropriateness as well. The one, 250 North 10th Street, was issued a a violation in 2013 for putting vinyl windows in on the first floor, and that ultimately was approved then by HARB with a, not by HARB, but by a staff approval, because of the fact that the windows that were removed, it couldn't be confirmed whether or not they were vinyl or wood or what they were. There were apparently some vinyl windows in the house already, and therefore the first floor was approved by staff for vinyl windows. The second floor was to be wood aluminum clad windows, and the house in fact is that today. It's in compliance. The other property, 141 North 10th Street.
What's the address?
141 North 10th Street.
Mm-hmm.
That was given a stamp approval for to replace 3 second floor vinyl windows with beige or almond vinyl replacement windows, so vinyl for vinyl, which is permitted, and then replace 2 first floor windows with beige or almond aluminum clad wood windows. That property has all white vinyl windows in it.
That's what was approved by Mark Hartney when he was.
That's not what's written.
He gave me the okay to do it. I wouldn't do anything that.
That's not what's written in the staff approval.
Well, that's with Mark Hartney and the historic board. I'm sure if I was asking them, I'm gonna do this, and I did something else, I'm sure I would've got that fine.
Well, I have actual copy of the staff approval that shows the wording that I just used.
Okay.
Vinyl for vinyl and wood for wood aluminum clad.
Okay.
Right, and that's why it was a staff approval.
That's what was the staff approval?
Correct.
Okay.
And the other thing is, the house on 250 North 10th Street, when I bought it, there was, I think, 2 or 3 windows that were broken and boarded up on the front of the house.
Well, that's why you allowed them to put vinyl in, because there was no determination as to what type of window that was there.
Yeah,
So
but-
Mark Hartney gave you staff approval to put vinyl windows in where there most likely were vinyl windows before, or maybe there was no determination of what the window was, and that's why he approved those. This is a different case. This house has all wood windows in it. That's why it can't be staff approved for all vinyl windows.
But there's gaps, there's like 1/4-inch gaps on the top of these windows, air flows through everything, they don't lift, they don't hold up. What's the point of having a window that's not efficient?
Well, you can put new windows in the house you currently have. They have to be a wood window that's aluminum.
Now, let me ask you one question. If you're walking down the street, can you tell the difference between a vinyl window and an aluminum clad?
I can't.
You can.
I can't really, several of them.
And how is that? By ripping the window out and seeing that it's wood, or
No.
just by the middle?
Well, in some ways, it's the middle of how the locks are, and others, it's just, wood is very easy to recognize. It looks historic, it has a certain look and feel to it. The aluminum clad, it does look like aluminum. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but typically they're not white. They're usually beige or brown in color, and they have a smoother finish than a vinyl window does. So there is a difference. You can tell the difference.
And one more question, that if you're a buyer into a home in a historic area, is it a make it or break it that a house has these aluminum clad windows? Or are you not gonna buy this house because they're not in there? Or if they have a vinyl window?
Well, if it were my preference, I would want a house that had all wood windows and that were the original windows in the house. That would be my preference. And to keep them the way they are. That's just my preference. I have a house now that's got wood windows in it, and it has some wood clad as well. So that's my preference. In my opinion, too, vinyl just simply, it looks modern. It does not fit in appropriately with the historic.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, no comments from the public. We're ready for a vote. Mr. Hanlon, excuse me. Obviously for my colleagues, and I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, a yes vote means you uphold the denial, a no vote means you do not agree with the denial, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Hanlon, call a vote.
Okay, vote on the denial, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Glazier.
Yes.
Mr. Grady.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Ms. Mona.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. We will start our next meeting in 5 minutes, and that meeting will